Okay, everybody, David Parsons here. This is The Nostalgia Trap. Thanks so much for listening to the show. I hope everything is going well in your world. I hope you're surviving the psychotic year of our Lord 2020. You know, it is a psychotic year. It's honestly probably one of the most psychotic years that I've lived through personally, and I pay attention to this stuff. But, you know, I started The Nostalgia Trap in 2014 mainly because I wanted to track the thoughts and ideas of people as we're living through this moment, this historical moment. And it was crazy in 2014. I mean, let's not fool ourselves and think that 2020 is some anomaly of nightmare. We've been living through a nightmare for a long, long time, and we're seeing kind of, you know, one kind of flare up of that nightmare this year. And none of us knows where this is heading. You know, I don't declare that I know that it's the apocalypse or end times or revolution. But I think all of those words are operative and worth thinking about. My guest today is someone who has always, for me, captured a sort of visceral feeling, the lived experience of this nightmare. His name is Eddie Pepitone, and he's a stand-up comedian. Now, many of you would know about me that I'm not one to recommend hour-long stand-up comedy specials. In fact, the whole reason Eddie and I were able to hook up for this episode is because I posted something about his special in which I said I fucking hate stand-up comedy, but this one is awesome. And his new special is called For the Masses. You should go check it out. He's someone who really captures that like working class rage voice. And I love it. It always makes me laugh, and it always, to me, captures something really, really visceral and brutal about our lives and the world we live in. So I hope you enjoy Eddie Pepitone. He's someone who I had obviously a ton of fun. I laughed a lot on this episode. I don't know if you'll agree, I think this is one of our funniest Nostalgia Trap episodes. So I hope you enjoy it. And we've got a lot more Nostalgia Trap stuff on the way. You know, I'm trying to put out a lot more episodes in the coming months. I really am redoubling my efforts with trying to interview a lot of people that I think that can shed light on Black Lives Matter, on the police, on prisons, on pandemic, on all the sorts of things that are happening this year, but also, you know, the larger picture of, you know, the moment we're living through, capitalism, and what might be happening. And as you know, we go all the way back and through all of American history. So if you support that project, that's something you want to get behind, we need your support. We are totally listener-supported show. So go to patreon.com/nostalgiatrap. You can subscribe. If you have $5 a month to give us, thank you. If you don't give it to us. Just listen to the free episodes. We don't want to like break anyone's bank here. But if you can support the show, it means a whole lot to us. Plus, you get access to our bonus material. We put out an episode last week on our Patreon that I think is one of the best conversations Justin Rogers Cooper and I have had. We talked about the LAPD. We talked about the history of Los Angeles in the 1960s, and we framed it all around Mike Davis and John Wiener's new book, Set the Night on Fire, LA in the 60s. So if that sounds like something you would like to listen to, go to our Patreon, patreon.com/nostalgiatrap, and we're going to be putting up a lot more interviews in the coming months. So now is the time to join. Okay. Thanks so much, and I hope you enjoy this conversation. This is me and the wonderful Eddie Pepitone. All right, Eddie Pepitone, thank you so much for joining me. You are a person who, in this household, we have been following you for a long time. We love your voice, your comic voice, and something that's happened recently that's kind of terrifying, and I wonder if you have any thoughts on it. First of all, congratulations on your latest special, which is called For the Masses. I watched it the other night, and it's one of the only... I put this on Twitter. I think this is actually how we came in contact, because I tagged you in it. Right. But it's like... your stand-up is one of the only stand-up specials I've seen that really matches this moment, and it really feels like you're talking about things that are relevant, and that you're kind of keyed into this moment. And for a long time, I thought of you as this kind of voice in the wilderness, this angry voice that was like talking about the apocalypse, and everyone's like, "What the fuck?" You know, we're in the Obama years, everything's great.
The Obama years.
But now, like, you're the voice of reason, and that's kind of terrifying to me that Eddie Pepitone could be like the voice of reason, or that you would match the times. Yep. I mean, is it weird to be so close to like matching the tone of the era?
Yeah. It's I think I've been surprised how this special has really like resonated with people. Like I'm getting like the last time I did a special in Ruins, big special. Um, I got a lot of love, but not like this. This is like people, from all over the spectrum telling me, "Oh man, this is so fucking great." And today, a funny young comic named Moses Storm said, "I can't watch any comedy specials right now that are that were taped pre-COVID because they have nothing to fucking say." And the thing that attracted me to you, David. I love this that you said on Twitter. You said you hate fucking stand-up right now. Did you say that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Was that you?
Yeah.
I love that because I find that most people think stand-up is so fucking great. And being a stand-up, I'm very critical of other people who I see all the time, I mean, I'm critical in my head about it. I don't necessarily go public with a lot of it, but I just watch it and I'm like, what the fuck are people talking about? Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, there was a clip of you, and this is like, I mean, this is such a weird thing of like the internet age, but like there's a clip of you from 2009 that my wife and I have been watching for 11 fucking years. That's like 5 minutes of you on like a Mark Maron like live podcast, in which you're going off on a lot of different things, but it's like really cathartic. And like one of the things you're saying is it's during, you might not remember, but it's during the Balloon Boy thing where like there was and you said like, I used to think Wolf Blitzer was a journalist and I was dead fucking wrong. And you've got this take on things where you're like, you say what to me what's so great about the clip and what gets people so, I think, excited in the crowd is you say like Parks and Recreation, it's so fucking boring. I want to kill myself while I'm watching it. I want to kill my family while I'm watching it. If I had a family, I don't have a family. I'm sorry, I have the whole fucking bit memorized, dude. It's so good.
No, I know that bit. That bit has gotten a lot of play. That bit has gotten a lot of play because Maron is so popular, and I was in a groove that night. I remember that. And comedy is all about getting in the groove.
It seems like it, and like that to me is what's terrifying about it. Because it's like you have to kind of be in a certain kind of connection with the audience. Or it doesn't work. But like one of the things you said in that bit is about like. They have cheese and pizza crust now. Like, who gives a fuck? Like that's what people are like. That's what comics are talking about, right? And you do that even in your latest special. You're talking about like you're kind of goofing on the comics that talk about really like frivolous shit. Like I'm not going to talk about dating while I'm up here. Has it always been?
Right.
Were you ever? Because you've been a comic for a long time. Were you ever a comic that was talking about dating and chips and shit like that?
I never did.
Yeah.
I never did because. I do very poorly with the opposite sex in general. I'm married now, and my dating experiences were always just horrible. But I've always felt, some kind of imperative to talk about things that matter. Like, you know what I mean? Like I have this inner censor that won't. That when I do talk about trivial bullshit, I know it. I know I'm doing that, and I want to get back to other bullshit. Like I remember at the Improv saying a line that I liked one time that I use now and then. I'll say, I'll talk about, let's say, a movie and make fun of a movie. And then I'll say, by the way, just because I'm talking about movies right now doesn't mean I don't know we live under a fascist dictatorship that is run by a few corporations.
Well, that's the thing that I noticed, and I don't want to get too grad student-y about it, but like the thing that I noticed about your comedy is you're like the Pixies. You're like the quiet and the loud. You have this kind of duality to you, and like it seems like the Marxists would call it dialectic, but it's like this. You really play with two halves. And one of the things you do really well, I think, is what you just did right there, where you kind of juxtapose something frivolous from our culture, like eating some really good hummus at Whole Foods, with like the horror of like apocalypse and children in cages and shit like that. And there's something about, and it seems, I wondered, did it take you a while to develop that voice, or is that something that,
Oh yeah.
yeah, how conscious is that? Because it seems like in the new special, you kind of address it explicitly.
Right. I talk about, I haven't watched it in a while, but I think I talk about, I hope you're enjoying my modality. I don't know if I use that word, but I've talked about taking modality workshops, so.
You talk about mixed messages. That's what you say. Like you have a bit about mixed messages and that kind of coming from being raised a certain way. Can you talk about that mixed message thing a little bit? Because it seems like it's really important.
Oh, yeah.
It's important to your comedy, like to go, you will be screaming, like you're doing the like Brooklyn guy, fucking pissed off working class voice. And then really instantly you're down to this real quiet, real, and it seems like it seems like a voice you've really, honestly perfected in the latest special. But how much was that something that you really kind of thought about as your sort of approach?
I'll tell you, it's been kind of a lifelong work to get that tuned, get that refined, because when I first started, I was just up here. I was just screaming when I first started, and I didn't know how to kind of get the courage up to just talk in a normal voice, because I was petrified of stand-up when I first started. I would throw up before shows. I remember throwing up before an open mic in the Eagle. It was called the Eagle Tavern. I'm sure it's gone now in Chelsea. It was like an open mic that a lot of people went to. And I remember throwing up in the bathroom and going, why are you doing this? If it's this, painful. And I think the answer for me was I had no interest in doing anything else, and I had to keep doing this. And I even detoured around stand-up comedy. Stand-up comedy is the toughest thing to do as a funny person, because it's just you. Mm-hmm. It's just you on stage, and still. It's just you on stage, but you could hide behind a persona. Right. You could hide behind a character. And so then you could kind of get adept at still not letting your real self come out, But all the really good comedians are just putting themselves out there. Like right now, Chappelle, Burr.
Yeah.
Patton Oswalt, to name just three. And that's, and look at those guys, like they have shit to say. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Chappelle's Netflix thing was intense.
Oh,
so
man.
Fucking, I
gotta watch that again.
You know what? And it makes me think about you, because stand-up comedy can be a lot of things. And it can be as stupid as shit, or sometimes it's like things that we're like literally passing around as social media as like a serious, you know what I mean? Like as like a serious sort of clip. Everyone watch this clip from Chappelle. Right. People trade clips of like Chris Rock. Look at Chris Rock. He really explains something here about racism or something like that. And so like, it's a weird line with comedy, because it's something that you kind of like you got to make people laugh, and you got to be and if you're trying to be political at the same time, it seems like a really tricky thing to pull off, like to be serious and make you laugh at the same time.
Yes, it is, and the trick is that I remember Patton saying that your first job is to be funny as a comedian. That's your first job, not to be like an activist, you know?
Right.
But I think it's something that if you really have that bent, if you really have a political bent, and look at the fucking times we live in. In a way, I can't wait to get back on stage, because by the time we get back on stage, if I make it through this fucking thing, because I'm in kind of a high risk category, it really affects brilliant people, apparently, this virus. No, but
you're fucked, Daddy.
Not according to my dad.
Yeah.
If I can make it through it, there's going to be, I mean, it looks like to me, like, I don't know if you saw this, but it's so funny. The director who I became really good friends with, who I've become really good friends with, Steve Fine Arts, he like texts me all this shit that's going on, like, and he texted me, I don't know if you saw this, but in Portland, unmarked vehicles and some kind of militia that goes unidentified is just taking people, putting them in rental cars. Apparently they're rental cars. And what the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm saying is that we are going through some intense shit, and I just can't wait to see like comics who've been talking about eating ass try to address martial law.
Yeah. That's the name of this episode: eating ass and martial law.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really tough line. And like one of the things I was thinking about with you is that, I mean, this podcast, we talk a lot about the history of the working class, and we talk about left-wing politics and things like that. And there's like sort of, I mean, I wonder what it was like when you were starting out, because you were starting out when you were starting out, was it the late 80s? Was it somewhere in there?
Yeah. Let's see, 58. Yeah. Yes, like early 80s, actually.
Wow.
When I first started with stand-up, but like I said, I was so terrified that I took a detour and I did sketch comedy. I did improv comedy. I did one-man shows. And, for the first while of my career, I just wanted to be validated. It was all about validation for me. Getting. I read some guy. I forget his name. I think he was a Swede. I don't know what the fuck he was doing, talking about stand-up comedy. Some kind of psychologist, but he said stand-up comedy is all about slaying the father, like slaying your father. I think what he meant was like slaying an authoritarian voice, kind of saying, no, I am a valuable person. I am someone of worth, and then if you get through that ego trip, which is so difficult, and I still have it, then you start looking around at the greater good and what's going on with everybody, while you're looking into audiences of people who are really not that concerned with the fact that, 5 families own more than half of the wealth in the country. They're like, come on, man, it's Saturday night and I just want to have fun. Why are you talking about the Arctic shelf melting?
Yeah, there's a clip of you somewhere I saw where you're kind of like worried about going too dark. You're like, I worry about losing the audience. It seems like the audience may be more and more on your side in that, you know what I mean? Like I think you're right in the terms. Like what do those comics do that are talking about, cheese in the pizza crust? What are they going to do after this? Because it seems like they're totally irrelevant. Although, fuck, man. This fucking people love stupid shit, and like it's like the escapism factor is there too, I think.
Yeah, I agree, and I hate the escapism factor in stand up. I've always been, give me George Carlin. Carlin, I've been watching clips of him lately, man. He nailed this shit years ago.
People pass around that one clip of him, like, they don't care about you.
Dream.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck about you. Yeah, the American Dream.
How right was he?
It's amazing.
How right was he?
And it's hilarious too. And it's like it's very hard to pull that off. Like to be hilarious and like really clear about the power structure you're describing. That's what I was kind of wanted to ask you, because like so many comics, like especially the era that you came out of, or that you were starting to fuck around with stand-up comedy. I think of like, because I was young, but I was like thinking about Andrew Dice Clay and Sam Kinison, and it's kind of like those guys are hilarious, but they were kind of like reactionary. They were sort of like they seem kind of right wing.
Yeah.
They definitely weren't like, environmentalists or feminists or anything like that. In fact, they kind of seemed antagonistic. I mean, fuck, man, watching Andrew Dice Clay now, he's just talking about like fags getting AIDS and like shit. Like, it's like kind of stunning to watch.
I saw.
But you're not like that.
Recently.
You're like more of like a left. You more of like. I feel like you're more of a left comic. I wonder if that felt like different to you to be that part, sort of occupying that part of the political spectrum in comedy. Because
oh yeah, it felt like it felt very lonely.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I didn't see many people doing that at all. So I would see that and I would go, oh, okay, shit. And I would see, there are so many times when I am in the back of, a club about to go on and I'm watching what people are laughing at. Like I do that for a half hour before I go on or whatever, 20 minutes before I go on. And they're laughing at just what I consider to be such shit and trivia and inconsequential stuff that doesn't really relate to our lives. But I get surprised. I don't know if this is because it's LA audiences and they're very, they're more interesting than I thought. But when I'm at the Comedy Store, I'll go up and I'll start with something heavy, and a lot of them come with me sometimes, and that surprises me. But I think what's always been a key for me to doing the political stuff is that I have to show the audience that I have a big time, that I'm big time flawed as a human being, and that I have all kinds of shit going on too before I start criticizing, other people for being, I'm always telling audiences, you have to read the book, Amusing Ourselves to Death by Neil Postman. And they could barely read a Twitter feed.
Well, you've got a sort of like From Below. I think that I heard like Norm Macdonald once said that like it's good to play a dumb guy because people will laugh. Like in other words, to get your political points across, you don't want to seem like you're smarter than everybody and you're talking down to them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that seems hard because I mean.
Right.
You're like you might be like the person that does know a lot more than them, but you're trying to act like you're not. It seems like a real kind of balance, like a kind of a performative balance. Because like I'm watching I was watching your documentary, Bitter Buddha, which is a really awesome portrait of you. And like there's a clip, I actually paused it because I knew I was going to talk to you and I wanted to see your bookshelf because you have a bookshelf that you lean over to at some point. So I totally looked at your book.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was on it?
Well, I mean, a lot of stuff, but one of the things I noticed was there's a Chomsky book there. And I was like, oh, okay. They're like, Noam Chomsky is on his bookshelf. That makes sense to me. But at the same time, I've never heard you be on stage being like, well, I read Noam Chomsky and this is like what he says, right? Like, in other words, like you've taken that and sort of internalized the truths of Chomsky and thrown it back at us as like, this comedy. I think you do that really well. I don't know a lot of people who do that.
Yeah. Because I know what I'm dealing with. You know what I mean? I know that people are there to be distracted, that people are there to get big laughs. One of the things I've said, I don't know if you've ever heard me say, but I say, I know you just want to hear about Batman and pussy, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We're going to talk about the climate breakdown. I want to talk about why are you people still having children?
When did that like how does that whole attitude how has that kind of helped you or hurt you navigate the Hollywood industry? Because it seems like Hollywood. I mean, you talk about this a lot. I mean, one of the things that I've known about you is that you're like, it's kind of rare actually that you talk about corporations a lot. And you're like, I don't want to do commercials, and I don't want to like be like part of this like kind of corporate hellscape that we live in. But at the same time, Hollywood is just a giant fucking entertainment corporation. So it is. And your last bit about Downey, which I know you've been doing that that bit has become such a bigger thing now. But like being like,
Right.
but you end it seems like it's an important part of your personality and your politics is staying away from corporate endorsements and things like that. But like, when did that enter into your, in other words, where do these politics come from? Is it because in the Bitter Buddha?
Where do my politics?
Yeah, because in the Bitter Buddha movie, it's kind of surprising. They talk about your father really quickly when they introduce him, and they say that a lot of Eddie's progressive politics come from his father. And I was like, that's really interesting because I see your father's personality. I'm like, oh, this guy's probably some right wing, really like insane. But instead, he's sitting there being like Mr. Progressive, concerned about Michael Vick abusing dogs and things like that. It's really like surprising, and that surprised me to hear that.
Right. I've analyzed my stand-up on one level. My stand-up is just me cathartically trying to exercise my father's voice in my head. And my father is that dichotomy of a real blue collar, like kind of primal guy who has also, when he was younger, he was a union leader of the it was the UFT back then, United Federation of Teachers. And I don't know if you know of a union leader in the 60s, Albert Shanker, but my dad was Albert Shanker's right-hand man. Woody Allen actually has a super funny joke about Shanker in Sleeper. He says, the civilization. I think the civilization was killed because Albert Shanker got a hold of a nuclear bomb. It was just a funny line.
That's a great Woody Allen impression, by the way.
Oh yeah. But my dad turned me on to a book that changed my life, because my dad was, at one point, he's taken the check on life now and just kind of sits at home and thinks Rachel Maddow is very hip, but he has MSNBC blasting like it's a Nirvana concert.
Better than Tucker Carlson, man. You don't want a Fox News dad.
Yeah. Oh no, he would. I don't think. No, he would never be that because of who he was, but he's totally duped by the corporate media. He still thinks Democrats are worthwhile. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know where you stand on that. I look at them as bigger sellouts because they're just so full of shit.
Yeah.
We're gonna get it now with Biden, I think.
He's gonna win. Don't you think he's gonna win? Are we? Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be I don't want to be Nostradamus here, but it seems like he's gonna win.
Yeah. I mean, let me tell you something. If he doesn't win, then we'll know that we need to either be on the streets and I think we need to be on the streets at this point.
Protesting. Yeah. I mean, you asked where we're at. I mean, we did an episode just a couple weeks ago about how necessary riots are to sort of educate.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I love that.
To sort of educate the ruling class about the consequences of their policies. Because, I mean, where are we right now? When you're talking about fucking Portland, people being disappeared on the streets. I mean, how much further do we need to go to be like, we're not in a normal situation. Like everything has stopped in our society. I mean, the pandemic is kind of forcing the conversation a little bit.
That's right. The pandemic has accelerated and exposed the corporate state. It's just exposed it. I mean, there's no health care for people. How have we not controlled this like other countries? So, how can Trump I mean, what's hilarious too is that obviously the Democratic strategy is to let Biden not say anything, because Trump has set the bar so low for anyone to take over. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like running against Satan's ass.
Yeah.
it's running against Satan's ass, you know?
And I mean, to me, like the pandemic sort of erased the whole. It's so weird because we were in a totally different fucking reality like 4 months ago.
I know.
I was thinking about like, oh, the Democrats are going to steal this from Bernie, and I'm going to have to go to Milwaukee and throw bricks at the Democrats. Like that was that was sort of like what we were all thinking because they're going to steal it from Bernie. But then Obama called Bernie in the middle of the night and said, "Drop out," and he said, "All right," and that was that. And now we got by it. It's almost like it was such a smooth.
How disappointing is Bernie?
Yeah. What do you? I mean,
well,
hey,
I mean,
you're
stuff.
The Bernie Sanders is sort of an Eddie Pepitone-ish figure in some way. I mean, people see him as like the Brooklyn guy that's yelling up there. But yeah, it is. Fuck, man, it was really. It's bad.
I went to the L.A. rally. I went to the Bernie came to L.A. and I went. It was at some convention hall, and I felt really sick after that rally for like a week, and that was just when COVID was coming into the conversation, and I was always wondering if I got it, but I don't think so. I never got tested. Did you get tested?
No, I haven't had any symptoms or anything like that. But I've had a few friends in New York that they were out for like a couple weeks with it, and they're like dudes in their 40s who were just kind of like laid out with it. But I don't know anyone that's gone to the hospital yet, and thank God. But
I have a friend. Who 29 in fit condition. He actually lives in upstate New York, like Woodstock. And he came and he was in LA with his girlfriend. And on the plane ride back, he got it. He got COVID. And 3 months later, he's still dealing with lung issues. I mean, he got nailed.
Fuck.
And like his stamina is not good. He's starting to get back to fuller strength, but I think it sounds like he has what people are talking about, permanent damage and stuff like that.
See, I don't even want to get on a plane. Are you want to get on a plane?
No, I don't want to get on the plane either, unless I am going to fly the plane into a federal building. That'd be funny. In the middle of me talking to you, I get disappeared.
The black bag goes over Eddie's head. Yeah, it's funny. You couldn't make that. I mean, you couldn't make that joke in 2002, 2003. People were really sensitive about making jokes about flying planes into things. But it's amazing how much time has gone by since then. It's funny because like you think about like this nightmare. And like a lot of this show, Nostalgia Trap, is about the nightmare that we live in. And like 9/11 seems like a moment that was an accelerant too. You know what I mean? That like COVID in the same way, like 9/11 came and like kind of revealed something really, really monstrous at the heart of the American project, because you saw like Bush's reaction to it, and even the fucking Democrats. I mean, this was the beginning of my seeing the Democrats as, maybe even worse than the Republicans in the way that they lie to the American people and manipulate, people's sort of progressive attitudes in order to maintain power. So all that, I mean, 9/11 was also a time of like alt comedy. I mean, like I remember like that was the time like I don't know, David Cross had a few big albums after 9/11, and it almost like it reinvigorated the sense of comedy that you're talking about. Like people, there was a thirst for some sort of alternative perspective, and I think that, and I hope that there's more of that in this
yeah. 9/11 like showed, so our actions have consequences overseas. Like, you mean if we kill people overseas, they may take revenge on us,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, matter of fact, my friend, he passed away, Barry Crimmins, but he has a great joke. He was a real rat. I don't know if you ever checked out Barry.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
He was a big lefty, and he said, people tell him, how come you don't move out of America? And he said, because I don't want to be a victim of its foreign policy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a truth to that too.
I know. I know.
There's an element of you that is, and this is part of the dichotomy that people talk about with Eddie Pepitone. That's like it's a spiritual seeker. And the bitter Buddha is in part this kind of like this idea that you're pursuing some sort of nirvana. At the same time it seems like there's I don't know. It seems like there's a lot to do with that like dichotomy that's in you between the quiet and the loud. That's connected to the politics in a lot of ways. It seems like, in other words, like what is the connection between your sort of anger, but also your desire to like seek something peaceful?
Yeah.
Were you always into
I'm
Buddhism?
still-
Like, is that something that like when did that enter
No.
your life?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it started entering my life when I got sober. I think like I was just a big pothead. I was never a big drinker at all, but I was just like I wanted to smoke into oblivion, And I finally realized that okay, if I keep doing that, I am not gonna do what I'm meant to do here, on this little orb called Earth, in an incomprehensibly infinite galaxy. We're just one galaxy in many, many, many different galaxies. I don't know why I'm talking about the infinite nature of space, but I just got into a quest to really actualize myself and actualize my purpose as someone who has something to say, and seriously, like just be what I was meant to do, which was to be funny and bring like an absurdist point of view to people, because life is fucking nasty, man. I mean, we're decaying even as we speak. So it's so funny. I get lost in this shit, but it's like I think the only way we feel valuable is if we are doing something valuable. And if we're, like I have explored distraction big time. I have explored pleasure. I'm always a guy who has been all about instant gratification. And that's the dichotomy, I think.
Yeah.
On one hand is that I am such a consumer in a way, and I rail against consumerism. I actually don't go online to shop, because if I did, like I did, let's say a month ago, I went into the fucking Apple store and I was like, yeah, I don't need one tripod, I need two. And I also need this thing and this. I love like electronic shit. And then I wait for it to come. I'm like, let me track it. Let me track it. Anyway, what I'm talking about is like trying to get satisfaction outside yourself. I realize, as someone who really has done that their whole life, like getting validation from audiences, I think the only way out of that is to fucking really get quiet and silent and, let go of all of that wanting to be loved. And this is going to just sound so fucking syrupy.
I love it.
And just kind of, just loving just being able to love yourself, which means just being able to sit and breathe and be quiet and kind of process all of your shit, because people don't on the whole, people don't do that. So what they fucking do is they ruin and destroy the world, because they're trying to get some kind of satisfaction out of it. I mean, Trump, I'll tell you, Trump, who is, like I said, Satan's ass. My favorite description of Trump is Dana Gould's Darth Marmalade. I keep repeating that. Darth Marmalade is very. Craig Proops. You know, he's an interesting comic.
Oh, yeah.
Craig calls him the Cheeto Bandito. I like that one too.
I feel like the authenticity that you're taught in your voice often comes from the fact that you're like, I'm in this shit too. Like, I like the artisanal peanut butter. I like the artisanal peanut butter as well.
Yes.
And that part of it I think is really appealing because you're listening to it, listening to you. It's like, yeah, I think people that are told constantly not to be a consumer are like, okay, I get it, but like, what else is there? Like American life is entirely about that distraction thing you're talking about. Like, it's
absolutely
we don't have a culture that encourages people to get quiet and just, you know what I mean? Like, because get quiet doesn't make anybody any money.
If we did, it would be done like a UFC fight. Like, it's time to get quiet. It's time to get quiet. And like, I had a bit
like,
about
you can get quiet for 1995.
Yeah, shit like that. Like, I had a bit where meditation was competitive. And it was done like a wrestling match, like two guys, talking to each other nose to nose going, your fucking mind is like a rippling ocean. It's so full of shit. Whereas mind is placid, but
that would be the American form of meditation. Competitive. Yeah. Savagely competitive.
What's coming home to roost is that this materialistic, materialism, which is a fucking philosophy and a way of life, and it's our way of life, is being exposed for being destructive, empty. The planet. I mean, all these cultures. There's no climate. There's no climate left. We are heading toward extinction.
But we can't fucking stop.
We can't stop.
I mean, stop. What you're saying is like, I think everybody is kind of realizing this with quarantine, because quarantine is almost asking you to like, the circus has stopped, right? And like, look at, a lot of people can't handle it. They're like, I got to go to Daytona Beach, or I got to go to Outback fucking Steakhouse. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, to them, like going to Outback is freedom for people. Like, going to Outback is life to people. And like, that's fucking insane, because like you ask anyone to be quiet, people can't sit still. I mean, you talk about like a distraction culture. I mean, the internet, I was probably one of these people that was young when the internet was coming out. I was like, we're going to live in the fucking most amazing generation because we're all going to be on the internet and we're all going to know. We're going to be so smart. We're all going to be so smart because we'll know everything. And instead, it just like, it's basically just the fucking TV. You just click through, Netflix and Amazon Prime's comedy specials. No offense, Eddie, but like all the kind of things that you click through, it's TV. Yeah. We put TV in our pockets, basically. And now that that we're even further from being able to fucking sit quietly and like really understand who we are and what we're here for. It's
right.
Yeah.
And the internet and social media in particular has accelerated at warp speed a narcissism, because everybody has a Facebook page and it's like everybody's a star now. Yeah. Everybody's a star, and so many people in that kind of mindset that our technology creates, right? They don't give a fuck about anybody else. They just are all about, look at me, look at me, look at me, and I say that with having that desire as well, with being a victim of that, as well. And that's my dichotomy, is that part of me is like so anti that, and then after I go on a diatribe about that, like after this podcast, I'll go, who liked my special on Instagram? You know what I mean? It's a very difficult thing divorce yourself from.
That's what's so sinister about social media is it's almost a machine for like duplicating that horrible internal process of being constantly like, do they like me? Do you like me? Do you like me? And like, it seems like, I mean, don't you think future generations are going to look at us and be like, what the fuck were they thinking? Like, why did they do this to themselves?
Hopefully they will. I've been encouraged though, by young people because of the protests that happened.
Yeah.
That
me too.
Burst of anger. And, I went to one protest, even though it was COVID, it was right down my block. So I was like, oh, okay. And I went to it, and I was just impressed with, just the exact opposite of narcissism. Like, we need to do these things. We need to give a shit about each other. It's something called the people's budget. It's like, no. We don't need to put $1 billion into abusive cops. We need to have that money for us, for healthcare, for childcare, for daycare, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very encouraged by that, and I kind of had my cynicism about young people punctured to an extent, And the other thing that I just wanted to say on what we're talking about is, do you like me? Do you like me? Do you like me? After a while, you realize, okay, I've been doing this now for many years. I think this doesn't work as far as a way to get happy.
Yeah, right. That, like, we come to an end point on social media where, it's weird because the pandemic, I think you're right. It's like it kind of accelerates that too. The idea that people are gonna not get satisfaction from this anymore. I don't know. I was thinking about I think about the beats a lot with you and like the counterculture and like 50s and 60s stuff. And like I was thinking about the reason I bring that up is because there's a movie and a book by Jack Kerouac called Big Sur, and it's actually one of the only like Jack Kerouac movies that's ever been worth a damn if you've ever seen it.
That's a movie?
Yeah. They made a movie out of it with like a French actor playing Kerouac. He's really good, and it's like
French actor.
He's a French actor. I forget his name, but. Those movies are usually fucking so stupid. They're just like really like stereotypes and things like that. But this one, what Big Sur is about Kerouac going and really being burnt out.
I read it.
Yeah,
I read it.
Right.
I love that book.
Yeah, and the thing the moment that makes me think of you is that Kerouac tries to go to the woods, Big Sur, where he wants to get away from celebrity and the consumer world, and he wants to just be alone in the woods meditating. And after like day 6, he's like, I gotta go back to the city because I want to go to the bars and I want to hang out and I want to basically be in the lights and the excitement and the people and the girls and like the world. And it felt like that dichotomy, which is really hard, right? Which is like on the one end wanting to like be apart and find that quiet space and that connection, but at the same time, being distracted by weed and porn and YouTube, is there as well. And like that, I think a lot of people struggle with that. I think a lot of people struggle with that because the weed porn YouTube hole is somehow not as it's not going to challenge you as much as that being quiet shit. Like being quiet is hard.
Yeah. What's fucked up too is I see comics, they talk about porn, like it's a good thing. and I talk about it in the special a little too, like listening to porn in the car because, I listen to it because I don't know if I said this on the special, but porn is a reflection. Porn is just everybody's in a zippered hood and everybody is getting beat with whips and chains and spit on, and I come too quickly, so I just listen to it in the car. And
that's exactly that voice you're talking about, right?
Yeah,
where you're like, it's disgusting, and also I indulge in it. Because that connects with me. That connects with everyone. We all are like, yeah, I mean, that's the handcuff of American life that you're pointing out, I think, which is like simultaneously being fucking disgusted by everything you see and everything that the landscape offers you, while at the same time you find your own kind of enjoyment through little pieces of it. And it's really fucked up. It's really hard.
Well, it's because, and the Buddhists talk about this. I love listening, by the way, to Ram Dass, Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah.
I went through an Alan Watts period too. And by the way, Alan Watts and Jack Kerouac have something in common. They both drank themselves to death.
Isn't that interesting?
Kerouac's thing was he was a big time alcoholic. You know, and that's why he needed to fucking get out of the woods and go back to the bars. You know, he couldn't live without alcohol. And Watts, who I love to listen to. Do you listen to Alan Watts?
Oh yeah, that stuff is hypnotic. Yeah.
I found out he died of alcoholism.
I didn't know that.
Holy shit. Yeah. I forget what the original point was, but yeah.
Well, it's hard to get over your demons, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, it's desire. It is, you know, we're human too. So when these things are so readily available to us, you know, porn, YouTube and stuff, it's hard to just go, you know what, I'm going to sit on this cushion and just breathe. And then you go, as you're sitting there, I was thinking of doing a bit like this, where a meditation instructor does something like this. Okay, everybody, let's just breathe. Let's breathe in the in breath, and now the out breath. And okay, just breathe again. Let's feel your whole body. Feel your whole body. Just feel your body. Everything's okay. And now what I want you to do is go to your phone and check the New York Times live updates on COVID. And do that. Do a meditation instructor who lets you do both.
Yeah, right. I mean, isn't that the point? I mean, isn't that like ultimately like you're trying to be like, as I understood, I mean, I'm not versed in Buddhism too well. I mean, I'm one of these people that listens to a lot of tapes of Terence McKenna or Alan Watts.
Terence McKenna.
Oh yeah, I love that stuff. But it's also like hard to hold that in your head, like at the same time as you're trying to fucking make eggs, you know, or whatever you're doing in your life, because it's like. I mean, when I listen to McKenna, I mean, I got my mind blown by like little cassettes of McKenna a long time ago. Some dude at a restaurant that I was working at slipped me one of these tapes. He's like, listen to this when you get a chance. And
that's almost like a roofie.
Yeah, no, totally. It was a pill. It really was. And the McKenna shit, like, it's funny because when I listen to it, I'm like, oh my God, this fucking guy's right about everything. Like, you know, this.
Is he about psychedelics?
Yeah.
I don't know him that well.
Yeah, he's about psychedelics. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he was about the 2012 prophecy, which is really, the Mayan, you know, apocalypse 2012 thing. And he talked a lot about that. And he said that, messages that he'd received in on mushrooms had kind of confirmed the 2012 date. So anyway,
I think they were off by a few years. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think what the messages probably were that we're completely out of touch with nature and balance.
Yeah.
You know what was a couple of great movies? You ever see the Clayana Scotzi movies?
You do.
Clayana Scotzi.
Not only that, I saw that with Philip Glass playing the music live at Lincoln Center in New York. It was one of the last things I did in New York before I moved, and it was fucking awesome. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to go rewatch. I think there's a trilogy, right?
Yep. They're all crazy. They're all really good.
Yeah. I think they're so relevant. It's all about out of balance, the Hopi Indians, you know, my friend sent me, if you get a chance, Google Hopi Indians message to the world. I think they my dog Charlotte hates the Hopis. You just Google Hopi Indians message.
I think I've heard something about it. It's like a prophecy, right?
Yes. Yes.
It's like a prophecy about like a gourd of ashes falling. It doesn't specifically mention COVID, but it's close.
I don't know about that, but I just remember thinking that it's going to be a time where it's either sink or swim. We're going to feel like we're drowning and just let go of the shore and just go with the current, something like that.
Yeah, it seems
Yeah.
like that's something that you're one of the great points I think you make, and it's something that we talk about a lot on the show, is you say other generations have thought that it was the end of the world, but that they were living through the end of the world, and we do too, but we actually are living through the end of the world. Like, that's the difference. Were you trying to make the joke that, like, oh, I'm also indulging in this fantasy, and of course it's not the end of the world, or were you really saying we are different than previous generations, and we are really living
That's
through?
what I was saying.
Yeah.
The latter, because I just think the climate breakdown, and the scientists are saying it in the pandemic. The pandemic is just a little red flag. It is like a little harbinger of this breakdown of our relationship to nature. And man, I mean, what happened with this pandemic is we're destroying animal habitats. We're interacting with animals we shouldn't be interacting with. Wild. These Chinese markets are wild, exotic animals that started the pandemic, and we have to do such a 180 with fossil fuels and all that stuff. I always recommend to people to check out Extinction Rebellion. Do you know that group?
Yeah, aren't those the people that like pissed everyone off because they like stopped the subway trains in London? I remember, but yeah,
they stopped everything in London for a while.
Yeah, I mean they're kind of on the disruption chain, right? They're kind of saying like we need to disrupt right now, and it's kind of amazing to see like, when you do that, whether you're like Black Lives Matter or whatever, people get pissed. They're like, oh, let me get to the fucking Olive Garden, quit blocking it, or I need to get to work or whatever. And it's like, it seems like these groups are actually saying like, no, that shit's not important. Like, we need to actually like, stop right now.
That's right. That's right. I think you said it too, that the pandemic has stopped the circus, and people are trying to get back to the circus. Like LA has a tremendous spike of COVID cases, yet I see all these fucking cars on the road and people, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean,
isn't LA? I mean, they've shut down a lot of productions in terms of Hollywood industry, like, and they must be chomping at the bit to, get fucking the Bones reboot back on TV and all that. And like, how it seems like, just from your perspective, because you're in stand-up comedy clubs, when is that coming back?
Yeah.
It seems like something, there was a sort of comedy boom where like lots of people were doing stand-up, lots of people were doing like open mics. I mean, I did open mics in Brooklyn for like a couple weeks, and I found that I'd never been in those clubs before. It's like I found it the most like impossible, like disgusting culture. Like, it just seemed really I never got past the stage where you're throwing up in the bathroom, right? Or I'm kind of like, get the fuck out of here. And
open mics are the worst.
Yeah, you asked yourself the question, is this worth it? I asked myself that question. I was like, why the fuck am I doing this? Because what's funny, so I'm a professor. Like, I do a lot of lecturing. I do a lot of like, and I do a lot of, and I thought to myself, well, I'm already in front of a crowd. I'm already comfortable like talking about subjects and memorizing things. Maybe I can, but stand-up comedy is not lecturing, and like it's such a different energy that you're managing, that I found like what I found is that when I lecture about American history, I get laughs every once in a while, but I don't really control them. They pop up out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden the crowd like reacts to something I say. It's hard to control.
That's a good insight. That's a good insight on how you can attack stand-up or try to practice it, is kind of go with the game plan or a lesson plan. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm going to talk about to this crowd here at Yuck Yucks in Buffalo about the naval battles that defined.
Yeah, and how the fuck do you do that?
Yeah. I don't know. I think naval battle is a bad example, but it's like saying I'm going to talk about how porn, YouTube, and to get more immediate to people, I'm going to talk about how weed, porn, and YouTube are completely fucking handcuffing us.
Right.
And then you go up with that purpose, because I remember, and I still have this a little bit, not, but when I was starting, particularly, I would be in the back waiting to go up, just shitting my pants and going, I have nothing to say to these people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you have to have something to say.
Yeah.
To be able to do it, even, at an open mic,
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that part of it is tricky, no matter what kind of form of art you're doing. Figuring out like what it's really about, what its purpose is. But yeah, I mean, you coming from New York seems like it's a part of your personality. You know what it means?
Yeah.
It means like, and it almost is that dichotomy. Certainly for me, being a person that lived in New York for a long time, but also as a West Coast person, it feels like, that the East Coast is a lot of anger for me. Like I had to learn how to be pissed off there, and like, you may recognize this. Like, so coming from LA, coming from like the West Coast, I had a very kind of sensitive attitude towards like the homeless and like, always wanting to talk to people and things like that. But when I got to New York, I just saw everyone stepping over the homeless and like, and ultimately like grew to be very callous in my attitude over the years, where I went from being like the West Coast person that was like, oh my God, there's someone homeless, we need to help them, to being like, I got to get my shit done and I'm just on the fucking train with everyone else, and you're like at war in New York to get through those cities or to get through those that commute. So, and so it seems like that's present in you as well. Is it kind of like there's like this sort of like anger at humanity, at the same time there's a love for humanity, and it's really tricky to balance that out because you hate them and you love them.
Yeah, I think part of the New York mentality is formed by the fact that everybody is so on top of each other.
Yeah.
And it's an ambitious place too. Like New York is this wild combination of intellect and striving for great things, and then just people who are on top of each other, just trying to fucking survive, jamming on the subway, just even like I think I got back to New York a while ago, and last, whatever it was before COVID, and I'm more used to here now in LA, and just like walking on the street, I was getting like, get the fuck out of my, like just too many, it was too many people.
Yeah.
And you just get used to this kind of like, fuck you, like that just becomes, your thing in your head, like fuck you, you know what I mean? And fuck you, and fuck you, and fuck you.
How far is that from inner peace, man? I mean, I had a
very
I had a friend who's a much more like serious kind of like Buddhist, like psychic person, very sensitive person. She came and visited me once in New York City, and she was like, I can't be here. There's like too much, like exactly what you're saying. Too much fuck you. Like the energy is of that many people is really overwhelming. I don't know. There's a lot. There's a lot going on there, but I don't know, Eddie. Your stuff, like I said, is really a unique, and I think you're one of many comics who is that are at this moment the ones we're going to be looking to. And I just wanted to say that I love your stuff. And thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. If you want to do part 2 of this sometime, let's do it. Because I feel like we just kind of scratched the surface.
Yeah, I wanted to.
You know what I mean?
I wanted to introduce Eddie Pepitone to my listeners, because if you're out there, Nostalgia Trap listeners, I think that you'll really identify with what Eddie does, which is what we try to describe in this episode, which is you're describing to me the tone of late capitalism, the tone of life in America, and I think that you're. I don't want to get too heady and I don't want to embarrass you or anything like that, but I think you capture it really, really well. And I think that like what you're doing is kind of you're painting up there and giving like sort of the emotional register of what it's like to live through a really, really intense historical moment. So for the masses is the name of the special, and I recommend it on Twitter, but I can't recommend it enough. And yeah, for sure, let's talk again because I really have fun talking with you.
Absolutely, thank you, David. Have a great one. Thanks.
You too. Thanks, Eddie. Okay, I want to give a huge thank you to Eddie Pepitone. I was so happy to be able to finally speak with him. He's someone whose work I've admired for a long time. Go check out his latest stand-up special. It's called For the Masses. You can find it on Amazon and a bunch of other places. Really, really good stuff, and so much deeper and funnier and richer and more relevant than 99% of the stand-up comedy that you can find out there. So go check out Eddie Pepitone, and thanks, Eddie, for coming on the show. I hope to have you back soon, and I hope to have everyone back again next week. We'll be starting out a whole new round of interviews and shows again. So if you can support our show, that helps us do this. Patreon.com/nostalgiatrap. We've got a whole lot of bonus material, including that new kick-ass episode I'm really proud of with me and Justin Rogers Cooper talking about the history of the LAPD. Monstrous, scary, and totally, for me, rearranged a lot of ideas about the middle of the 20th century, especially World War II, fascism, white supremacy, Nazi shit. It's a really great episode. So go to patreon.com/nostalgiatrap if you want to listen to that and others and support our show. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you again very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.